everybody.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Meeting order, roll call, please.
Mayor Sealy,
Here.
Barrett Anderson, Pat Beckett,
Here.
Kayla Bullis, Will Rolke,
Here.
Larry Rohr,
Here.
Mike Tiedemann.
Here. Thank you very much. All right, first major item on the agenda. So as you can tell, we've got some special shirts on here at the council. For those of you that can't see them, they say the final motion. It's got Jerry's time in service, but it is going to allow us to, Jerry's final meeting is going to allow us to segue into our new city administrator. I'd like to introduce Mr. Jason Anderson, for those of you that don't know him, who's in the audience. So yeah, thanks for being here.
My fourth day with everybody and my second day wearing an outfit.
Yeah. He got some special credit, and his first day on duty was in Pierre at the South Dakota Municipal League Annual Conference, and so he dove into the deep end of the pool, and we appreciate that very much. And so, monumentous occasion on both ends. We get to celebrate the time that Mr. Zimetz has given us. At the same time, we get to welcome a new face, and we're very excited about that. So there'll be multiple items on the agenda tonight that we'll walk through, but we're going to recognize Jerry, and then we'll look forward to Jason's contribution going forward. The first outfit that he wore on behalf of the city of Beresford, I think, was what do we call that? Yes, yes.
Renaissance.
Yeah.
Renaissance.
Masquerade.
I think he gets some extra credit, so appreciate that, Jason. Yep. All right, we're gonna move into, we're gonna adopt our agenda. I'd like to make a couple recommendations. I'm gonna table our visitor, Mr. John Schubeck, representative in District 16. He's a farmer. His equipment's been breaking, and so he has priorities, and so he's going to come to another meeting. Isabel and I talked, our student representative. She has some information she'd like to present to the council, but we're going to table that till the first meeting in October so that we can effectively pass that information forward.
That's today, Eli.
Oh, I'm sorry. Ooh, November. Yeah, because Izzy will, she will be here, she will not be here for the next meeting, but she will be here for the first meeting in November. So, yeah, October, November, they're all running together at this point. And so, and then we are going to make a modification to new business. We're going to move resolution 2025-08 to the top of new business so that we can effectively celebrate Mr. Jerry Zimetz on his way out the door. So.
Make a motion to adopt the agenda as amended. Second.
All right, you have a motion and a second to adopt an amended agenda. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. Item number 5 on the agenda, we're going to approve the minutes from September 15th, 2025.
Make a motion to approve the minutes from September 15th, 2025. Second.
Motion is second to approve the minutes from September 15th, 2025. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. Minutes have been approved. All right, Mr. Schmeling, Ella, I assume Ella's here for, yes, all right. You guys want to join me at the podium, the lectern? Hope it, thank you. So I always, you guys know that I take an opportunity to recognize people in our community that do phenomenal work. One of the things that I've identified, and I've said this multiple times in various settings, is that for some reason we tend towards recognizing athlete here, but here in a different sense. Our first honoree was Mr. Andrew Atwood, who won the high school mile. But we wanted to make sure that as part of our recognition program, we honor the fine arts, the things that bring culture to our community, the things that give us pride. So Mr. Schmeling and I had an opportunity to meet. We've met a couple of occasions. He's had to deal with my children. At the same time, I was coaching baseball the last few years, and I had a text come across my phone, and hey, this is Aaron Schmeling. I'm coaching Vermilion Red. And, we had to do some work to make sure that we coordinated time. So we've shared some time on the baseball field as well, because he's a dynamic individual. The reason I want to honor these guys this afternoon is that recently our band has been on the road. Elaine's daughter is part of the band. She's been very good about posting things on social media. There's a few others that have been great about doing that as well. Our band has been out there on the road recently, Chester, and then there was the one that Sioux Falls.
Saturday.
Yeah, just bam, 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 doing an amazing job representing our community very well. The cool thing about Chester was that our high school band, our varsity band, the
High school.
high school band, okay, that's varsity. They came away with first place, which is awesome. Our junior high band, which I know one of the tuba players, they actually came away with second place. And they have done a phenomenal job since not only the marching band festival that you guys hosted in Beresford, which was a great event, because we brought a lot of bands to town, we were able to showcase our community. But you guys have gone to other communities and you put Beresford on the front page, and so we appreciate that very much. I appreciate everything you do. We get to see Ella and Dr. Merriman often in sports, but it's great to see you here as a leader within the band, and we appreciate that very much. So, sir, I'll give you the floor for a few minutes. Do you want to say a couple words about your awesome performance?
Like our mayor said, Friday, we were in Chester. Traveled up, we took both the junior high band and the high school band to it. This is the first time that our junior high band has traveled outside of our community since 2021, I think. Which our senior class were seventh graders, I believe, at that time. And so being able to take them on the road finally again has been a really cool opportunity, and they absolutely ate it up. Having a great time. At that same time, we had our high schoolers, their only directions were go and support the junior high kids. Well, I'm listening to the judges' tapes with them, you can hear the high schoolers behind the judges cheering on the junior high. Even when we were warming up in the parking lot beforehand, our high schoolers were right behind. They came over to watch the junior high practice. We just do a run of our show and the high schoolers are cheering for them and just hyping them up. When their really only directions were, hey, show them some love because they're your future. So that was really neat to see. And then high school came out and came in focused really, really well and had a really good day in Chester. On top of that, we turn around to the football game at night and then turn around and go up to Sioux Falls for Festival of Bands the next day, where there were 8 other groups in our class. And we ended up taking first up there as well. Had a fantastic run where we had some good leadership out of our students. We had some good composure with a very new environment because of a new route this year, but also wanting to be and working to be successful. They have put in so much effort, especially since our own festival on the 26th of September. They put in so much effort to improve and continue to do so. So they have shown that they've shown that effort and that drive to chase excellence. We'll turn around here and we've got a couple weeks here now. But on the 17th, October 17th will be our last performance of the show, where we'll be up in Sioux Valley, up in Volga for the Sioux Valley Marching Festival. So hopefully continuing to make the improvements. And I think after we watched ourselves today, I think they all saw the different aspects that we could continue to improve upon this work towards. So
Awesome.
we're very proud of them, not only as people, but in all, or like as part of the musicians and all that, but as people and all that they're doing. Because we've got folks involved in, I think, everything. This is what it feels like when we look at schedules, is they're so highly involved, but they're still willing to commit to what we're trying to do as a group and as a program.
Great young citizens led by good people, so we appreciate it very much. Thank you. Just a public round of applause. Coin, I had to come directly. Okay, so I've got some coins that I owe you one. Well, either way. Yeah, I know exactly where to find you. So thanks for coming. We appreciate it very much. Thanks for all the people that are in the band and do so much for our community, because you put us on the front page of it. So thank you very much. Yeah, appreciate it. Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, let's go ahead and move. We have satisfied our requirement. Any additional visitors to be heard? Again, John Schubeck, our newly appointed representative of District 16, wasn't able to be here. And so he is he will come to another meeting. And then Isabel and I were gonna speak once more, and then the first meeting in November, she'll speak. Don't have any items under committee and or mayoral reports. Item number 9 on our agenda. Department head, city administrator, engineering reports. Mr. Pat Carey of Banner fame is here to talk to us about our October engineering report.
Good evening. There's a few of these items that are further down in new business, so I'll skip those for now, but there's just a couple things I wanted to highlight and just update on. The 2025 TAP grant, trail application did get submitted, so hopefully in January, we'll get a good response from DOT that they'll fund our project there. On the Sweeney proposal for the control updates for the lift stations and the water tower, that's been sent, and they've given an indication or a preliminary indication that they're gonna complete the work in November. That seems a little bit optimistic, but hopefully they can get that complete. On the 7th Street project, out by the clubhouse, the work is the majority of the work is done. The punch list is complete. In conversations with Keith last week, he had one other item that he wanted to add, so we've communicated that to First Rate. They're gonna get that finished up, and so hopefully by next month, we'll have a near final pay request to work through. Let them get their lien waivers all taken care of, and then hopefully before the end of the year, we'll be able to finalize that project. The only other thing I wanted to mention maybe here quick, we'll have a pay request for the Musson Brothers lining project, but as you may know, there have been a few incidents, unfortunately, with during construction, some of the services that were not reinstated quickly enough, and another case where there was a pipe that kind of got offset, and so there has been 3 cases of some damage that we're aware of. But between Musson Brothers, their subcontractors, and then keeping us in the loop, those are all moving forward to resolution for those homeowners, so hopefully they won't have much more to deal with on that, and I guess we're aware of everything. I don't know if any of you have heard anything that you want to pass along, or other concerns that you've heard that maybe aren't getting addressed quickly enough, but from what it seems, they're being responsive, the contractors are being responsive and working with the homeowners to get them these issues resolved. But, okay, other than that, the rest of it I think can wait till we hit the new business.
All right, any questions? All right, looks like we have a report also to Sarah. Looks like we're gonna hear about the water rate report review.
All right, so I can pass these out. I got some copies to follow along.
Sorry.
So yeah, this work goes back to a year ago. It was when at that time, we thought we were gonna write a report and send it into the state for SRF funding, but then they found out shortly after that because there's no improvements for a future for water being done as part of this, that they'd have to look at some other alternatives. However, we kept on going and still did the analysis so that you could see kind of what's going on with this, but so what this stems from is Lewis and Clark Regional Water is doing improvements, and it's kind of specific to Beresford just for what your water allocation is going into the future. And I don't personally do a lot of work on the Lewis and Clark project, but I did find this picture from last week, actually, that shows that there's an expansion going on down at Lewis and Clark that takes their plant from around 45 million gallons per day to 60 million gallons per day. And the construction is underway and it's not completed yet. But a few years ago, Beresford reserved a significant amount of future water use. And so this is kind of the whole report will be kind of talking about that here, and I'll try to keep it kind of short, quick. So in the past, the reserve capacity that Beresford had reserved was this 0.875 million gallons per day. And it would have been a couple of years ago that the city of Beresford was asked how much you'd like to reserve if there was a plant expansion of around 15 million gallons. And so that kind of shows some of the other users within South Dakota. And there was a couple more in Iowa and Minnesota to total 15 down here. But it brings, I wanted to just point out, that you used to be at 0.875 and now what you have reserved is 1.384 million gallons per day. So those two numbers kind of carry throughout these next few slides. So here's Beresford's payments that are due to Lewis and Clark. This was just updated as of 9/19. And of course, the actual costs still depend on final construction costs, like if something more is found between now and the last day of the completion date. But overall, it actually had gone down from what I was using from 2023 this spring when I started this work. So that was kind of neat. But this shows kind of there's a payment this year in 2025 that was already made, but the rest of this remaining, the 2026 through 2031 here would add up to being $2.323 million that are left to pay over the course of the next 5 years. And when you see something like this, it's almost like a project, and really it's pretty reasonable when I think about that being for bringing you guys to 1.3 million gallons. There's another town that I've helped with that has needed new wells, new water main, kind of considering treatment. It's somewhat reasonable when you think of it that way. But anyway, again, these two big numbers, it used to be at 875,000 gallons per day. And the expansion would bring Beresford's reserve capacity to 1,384,000 gallons per day. So this chart, I know you can't see all the small numbers here, but that blue line is that 875,000. And the green line up on top here is the future allocation of the 1.38 million gallons per day. And where we sit over on the left side of this curve is is today with what would happen on a peak day. So if the city was having a peak flow and the dairy was having a peak flow, I went back and looked at 2024 and there was actually just one specific day last year that was it was up. I wrote it down. July 26th of 2024 was actually up in this area, but we didn't really want to base it off that. We went to the whole annual flow, and then provided a peaking factor. And we used a peaking factor here of 1.75. And what you see, the reason this curve is going up is because we're showing a population growth. We're just showing population growth curve. And the reason there's these curves down here is this is what, without the peaking factor of just what you'd see of an annual average day flow that's projected into the future. But then if you want to know what the peak day might be, that one highest day of the year, it would jump up here. So here's kind of another way to explain that is if you had this, pretend that this orange line is your average flow when you take all the flows from years and average them out, which was pretty close for 2024. It was pretty close to 500,000. It's like 509,000 gallons per day last year. But this is just July. So there were these peak days in July that were up here. And so when you think of this future allocation, it's there so that you can get this many million gallons, per day, or the 1.3, but you would get them on that one day, and then you could get 1.3 million gallons the next day, and then you could get 1.3 million gallons the next day. So it's important to see what happens with the peak day, your peak use in the summer, not just looking at, we just averaged it out and we're only so many gallons per day on the average of the whole year and we're going to be fine. It was, I thought it was pretty important to kind of use the peaking factor and look at what's going to happen on peak day here, since that's what that control valve is really going to happen. And what we see oftentimes, like in June of 2021, the peak days were the same everywhere. Because those were the hot days, those were the days that the most water was being used overall, so. So back to, this one has a little bit higher peaking factor, so it's a bit more conservative. And as you can see here, it's like, it's over in the year, I think, 2065. That we're projecting that it could even, that peak flow could even cross the 1.3. But still, that's getting out 40 years from today, so a lot of unknowns there, but you gotta start somewhere when you wanna look ahead. This slide takes into account what the submerged attached growth reactor, that new improvement to the wastewater facility. So the green here is that right now the city has some additional growth that could happen in the wastewater facility. And that's dependent on what they see for I&I, so it's a lot different on the wastewater side, because what goes into the wastewater system isn't just what goes through the homes, it's also the infiltration and inflow. But you can kind of see how the population curve is still going up and the allowable infiltration is also going up. And as that happens, the Sager capacity kind of goes down, so it's like population grows, and so around 2050 is where those cross, is what the projection is right now. That improvement, the Sager facility, that improvement to the wastewater system is expandable, so 25, 30 years down the road, it could be expanded to if needed, if to meet this gap that started for that. So I did meet with Jerry and Elaine in September, and Jerry mentioned that he'd like to see what happens if Jerry's water use wasn't billed through the city in the future for any given reason. I think might have had to do with how long of a contract they had or whatnot, but just wanted to see what that data would look like too. And so this is the city flow alone, and I went and this is using a peaking factor of 1.5, but this number right here is really close to that peak day of city flow only, which was 756,000 gallons last year on July 26th. So it's pretty accurate here too as a starting point anyway, and there's a lot of factors obviously that goes into what happens over each given year going forward. But it's kind of neat, you can see how a real steep growth in the city would bring the city flow up, to that allocation up close to the year 2070. But if growth was, more moderate or kind of just consistent over time, a little bit at a slower rate, then there would still be capacity in there to continue maybe selling to the dairies or whatnot. So this is another peaking factor of 1.75, so it just kind of goes up a little bit steeper, so then even a more moderate. And so what I'm trying to show here is that there's a couple different factors. One of them is how much the city grows, and so how much water is being used. The other one is what the peak days look like. So, and things that can factor that, or things you can do in the future to kind of slow down on that, is maybe you only let people water every other day or something like that. There's things that can be looked at as get into the future, start to see some flows like this with peak day use. So this is back to that slide shared recently, before, because this is, I'm kind of getting close to the conclusion now, and just wanted to show again that this is kind of the one that we're, the kind of one of the main ones that we're pretty comfortable with, that since you're both the city and the county, with the peaking factor here of 1.75, it looks like, so I was able to make this conclusion here that the city of Beresford is currently responsible to pay over 2.3 million to Lewis and Clark between now and 2031 for a future water allocation. And projections based on peak flow show that the city of Beresford could grow at a steady rate and continue to serve the dairy water at the same capacity through the year 2070. So again, there's a few factors there that could change that between now and then. such as how fast the city grows or what the peak days look like. And the average daily flow data shows that the submerged attached growth reactor has capacity through 2050, depending on infiltration and inflow, and depending on how much of the future water use flows to the wastewater facility. So if some other users came to town that use a lot of water, but it doesn't end up flowing into the sewer, that would be another.
Sarah, on the projection of growth, city growth, you look at the population,
Yeah.
what number would that city population be at that factor for 2070? You say we with the system and our allocation, you know, and that would, what, do you know what approximate number that might be?
I don't
Okay.
have, and the files that I saved to my computer directly take me about 10 or 15 minutes to look it up.
Oh, just curious.
Okay.
I mean, it being in that range of 2,100 now, would that be
Right.
around 3,000 or so, or 3,500 or just curious?
Yeah,
What about if we could follow up with that, just send an email?
yeah, I know this number was 2262, so I think it's up in the 4,000s,
Okay, so I mean,
Yeah.
approximately looks to be
maybe 4,000.
double.
I don't know if we double, but maybe like a low 4,000,
Okay,
but yeah, I could follow up.
How soon do we have access to that peak flow of 1.3?
That's a good question too. I think, isn't that project planned to be completed by the end of next year? Perhaps, so.
If we sell our full capacity, like if we say we want our full capacity every day, can we sell that?
So, based on this gap in here, kind of. Between, because this was a peak day that you already hit. So, but if you were going to sell some of it. I would think that you might want to have like a sunset, or, you know, I don't know what it's exactly be called, but the sale would end so that. You know, into the future beyond that, you would save it, or,
Yeah, well, I'm looking at, maybe if we can sell that extra capacity, that's how we make our yearly payments. If that's an option that's available to us.
yeah. What we did was we put together quite a few options for, like, we recommended a loan payment. So, just because this projection was showing that Beresford might need it in the future and. And that's our recommendation, which is a little bit conservative and there to kind of for the city of Beresford. Because we've heard of situations where someone comes to town and says, hey, can I get 500,000 gallons per day? And it's kind of nice if you're sitting there ready for it, but we also understand that cost. So, but a loan with the cost being over 5 years right now, if you get a loan to spread it out over 20, then, you know, the cost per year and the associated user rate increase would be a lot less than trying to just put the bill for these big payments that you see in each year over the next 5 years.
But I'd be interested to know if we can get access to that right away and make that available for sale to other communities that obviously need water right now.
I don't think it's, no, the expansion isn't.
They won't have access to this extra water until they finish this phase 2 at 69 gallons, which is close to 2030.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
So
They're
it's
working
not
on the
just the
expansion
water.
right now, what they're doing, so.
okay, so we wouldn't have access to the 1.3 until 2030.
No.
That's not,
Okay.
it's not
I
just the
misunderstood
one plan expansion, there's some other things too that you have.
Yeah, so we're still at 875,000 gallons. The city uses about half, the dairy gets about the other half of our daily flow is what it is right now.
Right, okay.
The dairy, the contract we have with the dairy runs through 2040. So, at that time, you guys can reevaluate and say, hey, we think we can make more money selling to somebody else, or else we say the dairy, you know, you helped us out originally, but we've got a lot more needs for the water. We can sell it, and make a lot more money than we're making right now off of that. So that'll be your option at that point in time, is if you want to do something more with what they currently have, so.
In 2040,
Mhm.
that won't be my problem.
But 25-year deal. But the nice part about it, and I think Sarah talked about it, I don't think she didn't give you the number that we had been working with originally, trying to figure out how we're gonna pay for this, but we started out July 22nd of 2023 with a estimated cost of $3,768,000. With the new estimate that we just got updated on September 19th of this year, we went down to $2,323,000. So that's an incredible difference. And
Right.
when we look at a GO bond done over a 20-year period at about a 5% interest rate, that brought that payment down considerably. So we're looking at how we could fund that through different sources, and it may be a surcharge for everyone, or it could be a surcharge for residential. It might be one charge, and then we look at some other charges for larger businesses, which are causing us to use a lot more water than what we have had in the past. So those are the options that we're looking at right now. We've been working with Tom Grimmon with Colliers. He is the guy that we've done our bonds with in the past, so he's got us some estimates of what we need for monthly payments and stuff. He'll probably be down here in the next meeting or two to talk about that and get that ball rolling, if that's the way we need to go. We know that we'll have to come up with $3,335,000 by the first of February of next year. And then after that, they go down pretty significantly to 39,000, then 310,000, then 873,000. So we'd borrow quite a bit of extra money to start with, but we can invest that through the South Dakota FIB. As long as the investment it pays less than what we're paying on our interest, we can go ahead and invest that. So if we make 4%, we're paying 5%, it's only costing us 1% on the extra money. Then we don't have to try to rebond the thing, which there's a lot of bonding fees involved in these things. So I think that's probably the way we'll look at right now. And we'll put some options over the next couple meetings. So
And then in 5 years, we would be able to sell that reserve
Yes.
capacity.
we should have the extra
And
available.
then apply that back over that
Mhm.
bond.
Yes, absolutely.
Mike was,
Yeah, pay it back sooner. I think it'd make sure that we could have a early payoffs and not be stuck, for 10 or 15 years or something. We can't make any extra payments on that, so.
will those estimates and that you bring back with that, there'll be different options, but we would be able to look and see what surcharge amount would be
You
and
could look at that, different terms, if you want to do a 15-year, 20-year, 25-year, you wanted to keep it lower, things like that. We've been looking at some of the bigger users will think, well, it doesn't make sense for the lady that uses 400 gallons a month to pay the same surcharge as someone that uses 20,000 gallons a day. So she's not making the expansion necessary as the larger users and the growth that we have, so.
And I know it's your last night, Jerry, but I was really impressed by how, like, we originally set this a draft in June. And he just took it and was like, well, I'm gonna need a bond, and just kind of did his homework after that, so it's kind of neat to see how little we had to do with that part. Yeah.
Any other questions for Sarah? Everything look good?
Yeah.
All right, thank you, appreciate it very much. No further business, under Department City Administrator Engineering Reports, old business, Tiny Lawrence Ballfield, back to top votes.
We've had this on the agenda a few times here. We did finally get a second quote back. Didn't do us much good, I'll be real honest. Looks like, they're quite a bit more expensive than what the American I've been holding on to for a couple months was came in at. If you look at the American Fence quote, they've got 4 different options on there. The first one would be just to remove the existing backstop for $272,776. And then they would provide and install 164 by a 30-foot tall retractable netting system. And this is kind of what the guys wanted. They wanted a retractable netting so we could lower it. So it doesn't, in the wintertime, we don't have an ice storm come through and take the whole thing down, have to replace it all. So we could lower it as needed, and hopefully that'll save on wear and tear on it. And that total cost for that $64,270. So we could add those two together and
So
do
the
it.
165 bring us to the dugouts or where?
Yes,
Okay.
it's all the way to the dugouts, and it's gonna be, I think I believe the existing was 16 feet tall, so we're gonna be 14 feet taller than that.
Good.
So it's gonna stop a lot of little balls from going over the top. And the modular backstop wall, which is the piece down below right now, I think we've got some 2x10s or something like that stacked back there. So the ball hits them and it bounces back in there. We could continue to stay with what we have, or if you wanted to do a modular backstop wall, and I don't know a lot about it, but it's a kind of a little bit expensive there to do such. $25,866, but it'd be similar to what's there now, except it'd be built specifically for this system. And then the other part would be the install padding on there, which I don't know if that's needed or not. I would think, with the distance that we have from home plate to the back wall, I don't think you're gonna have a lot of people smashing into that 3-foot wood backstop. So I think you could get by with the first 3 items on there. If I was, that would be my recommendation. Park and Play was looking at a similar system, but it's only 27 foot tall. They were doing the modular wall also, they were at 127,990, so you're looking at a system of 64 people. About a little over $90,000 total, and we've only got 50,000 in budgeted this year for it, if we want to move forward. They're gonna require 60% down, is what their contract says, if we want to go with American Fence, we'd have to pay that up front. So we could use those funds this year, then budget for the rest of it for next year, if we want to move forward. And I told them we'd like to have this installed just as soon as possible. We don't want to be doing this when in the middle of our busy season, April, May, when the kids are out there playing. As soon as the weather cooperates, we'd want them out there to tackle this project, so. I think it's a good project. I mean, it's a shame it's that expensive, but we got two of them and the other guy couldn't even get on the bid out, so. John, we don't need to go to full bids on this. It's less than 100,000.
Right.
So if we went with those options minus the last one for the padding.
Yeah.
We would have enough to cover the 60% then.
You could always add the padding down the road if you wanted to, if you think that's something that needs to be done next year after
Yeah.
you're. Said, oh, we've had too many kids run into it or something like that.
Would now,
Right.
has been for a long time.
This will just fit the whole system as it rolls down a lot better.
And then we would just budget for the remaining amount for next year.
Yeah.
And then make that final, that
Yeah.
payment. And they're okay with us making a final payment next year?
Yeah, 60% down, final upon completion of the project, yeah.
Do you need a motion?
Yeah, please.
I'll make a motion that we accept the backstop proposal from American Fence Company for the first three options. I don't know what that total is. Whatever that amount is.
Yeah.
Second.
Motion is second on the table to accept the bid from American Fence Company for backstop at the Tiny Lawrence Field, including the first three items, excluding the last. As, I was gonna say Lane Johnson stated, but it's a little. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Anyone opposed? All right, motion carries.
The total of 92,912. 92,912.
So 50 budgeted this year and then, okay.
Yep.
And I think one thing to potentially consider for the future year would be asking if the baseball group through fundraising could support part of that. Cause if they need that additional item, maybe that's something that we hang out in front of them.
They still got that, they're still paying for the turf down there,
Yeah.
so that might be,
Their payments.
once that'll be done, they might look at that.
Once that's done, they gotta put new turf in,
It will be.
and then it'll be even more.
More home plate is really wore out around home plate already, so. That's 2-3 years.
All right, any additional discussion there under old business? All right, now we're gonna move into new business. We get to start with that part. Mr. Zimetz, if you'll join me. He doesn't like that attention. Any attention getting drawn, but old eyeballs. Oh.
I heard him back there.
One of the awesome things is we have some former council members, former mayors with us. Gentlemen, thanks very much for being here. Teresa, Mr. Schott, thanks so much for being here. Well, we appreciate it.
Thank you for everything you do. Mark did every one of you guys here.
Gary. Yeah, absolutely. So I'll read the resolution and then I think we can take an opportunity to just go around the room and Beresford before. There are some announcements later on the agenda where we're gonna talk a little bit about activities later this week. So at the same time, we're recognizing this gentleman, we're gonna be happy about welcoming our new representative. So resolution 2025-08, a resolution of appreciation for City Administrator Jerry Zimetz. Whereas 30 years, Jerry Zimetz faithfully served as the City of Beresford, beginning as the Deputy Finance Officer, then as a council member, and ultimately as the first appointed City Administrator on October 6th, 1999. And whereas during his tenure, Jerry worked tirelessly to guide, support numerous city projects, initiatives, and improvements that have positively impacted the community and enhanced the quality of life for our citizens. And whereas Jerry generously gave his time, leadership, and expertise serving not only the city, but also the president of the South Dakota Municipal League, the City Managers Association. And whereas Jerry's dedication, professionalism, and vision have left a lasting mark on the city, and while his leadership will be missed, he will forever be valued as a friend to the Beresford community. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Beresford City Council, Mayor, and staff extend heartfelt and sincere appreciation to City Administrator Jerry Zimetz for his years of loyal and dedicated service to the citizens of Beresford. Be it further resolved that this resolution will be made part of the permanent record of the City of Beresford. Signed by myself, 6th day of October 2025. Thank you, sir. Yeah, awesome.
Great to see a bunch of, the old timers here that I've been able to work with over so many years, and some of the mayors and Mr. Shock, you've been involved as long as I have, and Jim, you've been here, and Coach Chuck and Teresa, appreciate all the time we've had together, and the new guys and everybody here, so it's been a tremendous opportunity to work with each and every one of them. Our engineering, some of our city staff over the years, spent a lot of time in my office and doing a lot of projects together, so we sure appreciate it all out. Mr. Freeberg there, wouldn't know what we'd do without him. Elaine, Kathy, we got a lot of good people here, and I know, you'll keep her going. So anyhow, that's all I got to say. Thank you. Thanks. Sure. Thank you very much.
You have, well done, Jerry.
Oh, I do too, Mom.
Thank you.
Well, we'll go ahead and continue. And again, at the end of or closer to the end of the meeting, we'll talk a little bit about how we're gonna close this week out. Try to close this chapter, not permanently, but with, celebrate the past and look forward to the future, so. Within new business, pay request number 4, Muslim Brothers Sanitary Sewer Improvements, CIIP, 625, 477, and 19 cents.
I didn't realize I'd get to follow all that.
Yeah, well, bands,
Right.
you know, Jerry's retirement, yeah.
Kind of one of my first big projects in Beresford was 1998, so I kind of followed Jerry's track and definitely had a lot of advice and learned a lot from him along the way, so definitely appreciate that. Musson Brothers pay request 4, just the progress payment for work done over the last month. As you'll note, $625,477 and change, so they've kind of kicked it in gear and got a lot of work done here. They're getting close to wrapping up some of the phases of the work, hopefully. Keep making progress. The weather will shut them down eventually and they will be back next year to finish. And hopefully we can avoid the sewer backups and the problems that have come so far, but any questions on what's included in this particular pay app?
It is just because the lining portion reconstruction is really going at a
Yep.
higher rate as opposed to the video and.
Right,
Okay.
right, yep, they've made a lot of progress. I think there's like 12,000 feet of 8-inch sewer lining in here. That's the main thing. They haven't done all of the 12-inch yet, but there's, roughly half of the 8-inch lining's been done. And, the laterals as well, the services, they keep clicking those away every week they work. Or 10 days on, 10 days off, so, or that's not quite right, like a week on, week off, I guess. So they've been making a lot of progress on those too, so, yeah, finally just kind of hit their stride and getting some of that work done.
I make a motion, we approve pay request number 4 from Watson Brothers for the sanitary sewer improvement for $625,477.19.
Second.
Motion and second on the table to authorize pay request number 4 from Muslim Brothers Sanitary Sewer Improvement CIP, $625,477.19. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. All right, pay request number 19, final. Like to see that word.
Right, so yeah, this is the culmination of the Sager project. Last month, we had paid a portion of the retainage, and then this just basically finalized what was owed site works now that the punch list is complete and the system is operating. There'll still be some paperwork for us to finish up for, get your loan and all that good stuff finalized out, but this will be the last payment to site works on this project.
Jeff, you good with everything?
Let us hope so. I move approval of pay request 19, the final for site work, site units, 71,150.
I'm second.
Motion is second on the table to authorize pay request number 19 final from Siteworks Incorporated with Sager units in the amount of $71,150. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Sarah was very good with Sager. She had the acronym down pat.
Right.
I see that acronym and I forget what it is, so. All right, pay request number 5 for Metro for the Bach Housing Development in the amount of $391,029.13.
Again, a progress payment on this one, we've driven by lately. Concrete work going on out there. It'd be nice to see them be maybe a little more consistent in being here working, but obviously they have other projects and stuff that they're trying to balance their schedule on. Luckily, the weather's been a lot more cooperative here the last few weeks, but they are getting close to that should go pretty fast because it's 2 straight runs down the sides of the road. We're hoping by the end of next week, if everything stays on course, that we'll see some asphalt paving happening in the development. We've got rid of the ditch along the playground and the concession stand there. I think that looks a lot nicer than having the open ditch that we had there. Been talking to Jeff and Keith. Got the opportunity to maybe replace some old curb and gutter and valley gutter at the intersection of 3rd and Garfield. So we've worked on the design on the west side of that. It's a really steep bump there now. And since we're going through that intersection anyway, with the trench that's already there, now is a good time to fix that and make it look all nice and new right in that intersection. So that's something that'll be worked on here shortly as well. I think that's kind of the high points. Any questions or?
That'll be a change request.
That'll just be a unit price adjustment, so we shouldn't have to run anything special through that. And it should get covered just under the project because it's similar work.
Okay.
The drain tile addition seemed to firm things up.
Yep, that helped, for sure. We ended up doing the drain tile and the fabric and put the extra layer of rock in there just to keep them moving. But yeah, it seems to have firmed up, and the proof roll, I guess, will tell the story here later this week, but looks to have solved the issue there.
Make a motion for pay request number 5 to Metro Construction Incorporated in the amount of $391,029.13.
Motion is second on the table to authorize pay request number 5 to Metro Construction for the Bach Housing Development in the amount of $391,029.13. Any further discussion? Jeff, everything's good? Jeff? Everything good?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, okay, awesome. All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time. All right, Union County Property Tax Payment Request from Beresford Housing and Redevelopment Commission in the amount of $1,450.50 for parcel number 02.01.24.1030.
This was on the HRC had purchased the lot here at Fourth and Elm, kitty corner from the elementary school.
Oh,
They have now sold that to David and Belinda Dwight. When the county did the assessments on that, that did get taken off as being non-taxable property. The HRC during their course of ownership isn't required to pay, property taxes. So, the way to get that resolved is through this abatement, which covers the taxes from the period of time from purchase to sale by the HRC, and that was in the amount of 1458.50, I believe, so. Yeah, and city will get a portion of that, the school, well, this will all go back to the HRC, so. They had to pay those taxes to get the property transferred, so this will come back to them. The city has to approve it before it can go to the county commission for final approval.
Do I need to abstain from this?
No, you don't have any financial interests.
I'm on HRC though.
I don't.
Okay,
No personal financial interest.
no,
I make a motion that we approve the Union County property tax abatement request from the Beresford HRC in the amount of $1,458.58 for parcel 02 dot 01 dot 24 dot 1030.
Second.
motion second on the table to authorize the approval of the Union County property tax abatement request from Beresford Housing Redevelopment Commission in the amount of $1,458.50 for parcel 02.01.24.1030. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
I,
Anybody opposed? All right. Approved on our end. Next item, first reading supplemental appropriation ordinance 2025-07 FY 2025 appropriations.
The fire department had a little mishap with one of their trucks on a call, and so this supplemental appropriation ordinance would be insurance revenue or coming in for the accident, and then it'd be moving that money from the insurance payment to the fire budget. This will just be the first reading. And there's just one small correction at the very bottom where it says dated the 6th day of October. That should actually be the 20th of October. But this would just be the first reading.
Any questions? This was number 9 in a blowout.
Yeah, a tire blew and the damage from the tire hit the fender, and
Credit to Doug Jensen for not driving off the road.
yeah, we're lucky that he did not get hurt.
All right, so no official action, we'll just second reading, well, yep, okay. All right,
We've received the funds from the South Dakota Public Assurance Alliance already.
wow,
Yeah, it was cleared up.
that's a great first test.
Yeah. It was very good. Nice
Fantastic.
transaction.
Yeah, good. All right, next item on the agenda, step pay increase for Officer Colton Laubach from $30.34 per hour to $31.14 per hour, effective 10/6/25.
I'll make a motion for Colton Lombach to receive a step pay increase on 10/6 from 30.34 per hour to 31.14 per hour.
Second,
Motion and second on the table to authorize a step pay increase for Officer Colton Laubach from 30.34 to 31.14, effective 10/6/25. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Anybody opposed? Motion carries. Congratulations, Colton. Authorize the hiring of a part-time librarian, Alyssa Hawkins, at $17.91.
Make a motion to hire part-time librarian Lisa Hawkins at $17.90. I second.
Motion second on the table to hire a part-time librarian, Alyssa Hawkins, at $17.91. Do we need an effective date?
Immediately.
Immediately. Fantastic. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Request from Nikki Nguyen, Van Lynn Boutique to use council chambers, 103 North Third for the flannel fling on October 26th. The next maker is Mark, or no, Cobb, it used to be Cobb.
So Nikki reached out to us, to see if she could use the council chambers for the flannel fling. And I said we would bring it to council for approval. After visiting with Tom, it's not the
I
most
just don't know.
favorable thing to do at this
With
time.
the liability issues and whatnot, the property's currently listed for sale. Not sure if you wanna go down that path necessarily of opening it up to that type of use. Would be, I mean, although it'd be brief, you still got what you charge for rent and all of those sort of things that associated with it. What happens when the next request comes, all of potential things, so.
Do we have any interest in the buildings, either the old?
Showed them today,
Oh,
Mhm.
okay.
I know.
I believe they showed one last week also when we were here.
I had a call from someone that was interested, but they wanted to make it a residence and if they don't. She'll live upstairs, that's a possibility. But.
Yeah,
We got a lot of questions, so there's a lot of interest.
there has been, okay. Yeah, I understand that the setting precedent would probably be the one thing that works against us. There has been request from members of our community to do something similar to the community of Centerville in their empty building tour. Don't know exactly how that would look, and that's different than this, but also one of those where we don't have absolute control here, so. Is there any other bit space? Can we give them parking lot space or set of an actual building? What was she trying to set up?
I'm thinking she's worried that the weather's gonna be cold.
Oh.
It'd be a spot to maybe get out of the element and.
She's got
Cause
like
she's
boutique
yeah,
clothes and she sets up in the.
old fashioned weekend
Old-fashioned
in the park. I know last year, Carrie Carlson had a boutique set up in her
Hmm.
place of business, so.
Yeah.
Oh, like here in Colin Nelson's building or. The one next to it.
But with liability for the city buildings and actively being shown to potentially be purchased. Any thoughts? I say, given the circumstances, we. Favorable. Next item on the agenda, childcare coordinator position. I was contacted by our friends at the Beresford Area Foundation. They're interested in sponsoring a grant that would provide us with some resources to hire a childcare resource coordinator. We're currently in the midst of using the dollars from the initial grant that the Beresford Area Foundation gave us on a childcare consultancy to examine what our future looks like and how to best position ourselves to grow capacity within the community. That's actively in progress right now. There's a meeting this Wednesday. There's several successive meetings in October. When Jerry and I and Elaine initially shared this email, it sounds attractive to potentially be on the working end of some resources to hire someone. At the same time, if we did bring someone onto the city, what does the future of that position look like? Is it a short-term position or is it a term position? Is it a contract? Would we create any enduring requirement there? If we did, how do they organizationally align? Who do they work for? There is some recognition by the child care task force that there may need to be a central office that manages childcare in the community. So that we can continue to look at that, grow that, so that it's not something that we think about intermittently. And there is a letter in there from Mr. McGill that talks a little bit about the proposal and what they believe it would pay for. One of the next few meetings, I will provide an update on where we're headed with the future of childcare in our community. Much of it though is still putting plans in motion, designing the right plans and then subsequently putting them in motion, so. Any thoughts?
Guess, what, do reading through the letter here, still don't get a firm idea what the position would actually be doing. Is it, just a resource for someone that needs childcare to be able to come to and have resources of what's available in town, or is it, yeah, coordinating beyond that?
Yeah, I think the coordinator would be in charge of understanding the current landscape. They would be in charge of submitting grant paperwork or other proposal paperwork to grow. They would support Watch Puppy and Bright Beginnings. Watch Puppy obviously affiliated with the school system, part of PRC's inventory, and then Bright Beginnings as a separate entity, but managed by a board. I mean, I think there are uses for these funds. I don't know exactly what they look like, and knowing that we would only have, potentially temporary funds, how are they best used and what could we best do to leverage those funds?
Is the daycare gonna be owned by the city?
No, it's a separate entity. Bright Beginnings.
No,
No.
like if there was a new one to come? They're asking, would
Yeah.
the person be an employee of the city
Right.
or city partially fund the position?
Mhm. One of the absolute priorities that we've realized in the past few months and years is that we need more childcare. I don't know that the city, because there are some examples across the state where the cities are directly involved in the construction of new buildings, the hiring of staff. I don't know that that's going to be the correct solution for us. We have to do something because right now we only have about 40, 50 slots for the community. But because if we took a $50,000 offset grant and then we added some resources, if we looked at the budget cycle and tried to find some money to support a position, I think it might be realistic for 1 year, but I just don't know if that does that put us in the right position?
Yeah, and last year they got a grant of 50,000 for various purposes, which included some startup grants, general grants for Watch Puppy and Bright Beginnings, so
Yeah.
that 50,000 would probably still go to what they were working on last year, so I don't know if we'd actually even get 50,000.
Yeah, probably not that full amount. As part of what the money went to last year's operations for Watch Puppy and Bright Beginning to keep costs reasonable.
Mhm.
And that, if I'm correct, Sarah, in our discussions on that through the PRCE group, a lot of that is directed to families in need to make sure that there is support. There's a variety of other projects that where that existing grant is really critical to both Bright Beginnings and Watch Puppy.
And one of the things that I've talked about is trying to look during the budget cycle, looking at any potentially available dollar, setting it aside or designating it for potential future use. I don't know exactly what that looks like, and I think part of that will be some of the output of the child care task force. And some of that will be just the discussion we're gonna have in the next few weeks. As we consider, what the future really looks like. Do we resource Bright Beginnings and plus them up, or do we look at an alternative? So there's still a lot of those questions that I don't believe have been effectively answered that I think we probably need to know before we move forward.
I would agree.
Because right beginnings, it's not fully staffed, right?
No. No, they have, they've been down, I think, if they were fully staffed, I think they could potentially take another 12. And it's in the secondary building. I don't know if anybody, probably people in the room that know this better than I do, but, I think it's an additional 12. So there is one new in-home provider in town. That person, I think, is taking up some of the excess capacity that, well, I don't know where Olivia's at in her journey as one of our in-home providers in the community, but so there's a meeting on the 8th of October that I'm gonna go to Wednesday at 2 p.m. to try to determine kind of what this looks like. But I would welcome any ideas on the right way to lean forward, so.
And why do they think we need the coordinator position?
You know, and I'll refer back to a comment that Meg Anderson made, when we considered the grant in the beginning for the consultancy. Most of us that are trying to make this happen, we all have, 1,000 different responsibilities. I think the benefit of having someone whose sole responsibility is coordinating childcare, if we were a town of 10 or 15 or 20,000, it could make perfect sense, right? We're looking to grow. We obviously want to try to get to at least 70, if not double our current capacity as soon as possible, but I don't know that may be the right thing right now for us.
But Eli, is Troy James going to be at that meeting, or have you talked with him?
He and I are in fairly regular contact.
Okay, because he would, if there is a way to pull some smaller things together into more coordinated management position, he might have some ideas on that through the portion of the PRC meetings when we're looking at lots of puppy and right beginners.
And then maybe as part of our subsidy that goes to PRCE, there's a requirement that we have some sort of connection with community-wide visibility. Maybe that's, Okay, any other ideas, comments, concerns? All right, yeah, heavy topic, and it's one that we still, definitely a nut we haven't completely cracked yet. There's been a lot of great discussion, but I still think there needs to be more, and I'll take Councilor Rohr's advice and sit with Troy, and then I'll go to the meeting on Wednesday. All right. Any other discussion? Looks like now we will recess council meeting, enter into Cablevision for our annual meeting, and yeah, so. City council meetings and what's that?
No, you just didn't read it.
Okay, oh, I got it.
Just Meyer acting as Beresford Cablevision Inc. Those of you who are new to the council, cable television, when it was initiated, was set up as a separate entity. With the board of directors consisting of the city council, but this is the annual meeting where Austin gets to tell you just how many people are leaving cable television on a monthly basis, so. So you are the board of directors for the corporation that technically owns the cable system, but all the finances run through the telephone department, so.
Larry's the president of
That's right. You get a chair this meeting.
He's a gavel.
Well, you have the, I'll use my phone.
Call to order.
Call meeting to order for Beresford Cablevision annual meeting.
Roll call. Roll call.
Roll call.
Cable President Larry Rohr,
Here.
Sarah Anderson. Here. Kayla Bullis.
Here.
Pat Beckett.
Here.
Will Rolke.
Here.
Eli Seeley.
Here.
Mike Tituba.
Here.
We have an agenda, as you can see. Any additions or changes suggested to the agenda? Motion to adopt.
Motion to adopt the agenda.
Second.
Motion and a second on the table for the agenda. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Opposed, same sign. Thank you. Election of officers.
Start with president.
Hmm?
Start with president.
Start with the president.
Make a motion for Larry Rohr to be president of the cable division,
Second.
our nomination, I mean.
Any other nominations?
Everybody thought of her job. Well, it's not, I think there should be some stiff competition, but I think we all know who's duly qualified for this role, so.
It pays really well.
It does.
We'll get you a Beresford Cablevision ruler or something.
Nomination, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Aye. The nomination is approved. And next we have vice ruler. Any nominations? Our current vice chairman,
Art Child.
Art.
Oh.
Sorry, Art.
Always right.
I'll nominate Pat Beckett.
Second.
Any other nominations? They close. Any discussion? No. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Nomination approved.
The next is treasurer.
Nominations for treasurer of Beresford Cable.
It's currently me.
And we nominate our current city finance officer, okay? I'll make a nomination of Elaine Johnson, finance officer.
Second. Nomination and second for Elaine to continue in the office of treasurer. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Congratulations, Madam Treasurer.
And next is secretary.
I nominate Kathy.
Second.
Nomination and a second for Kathy Stussy. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Well, here we are again.
Congratulations.
Next item on the agenda, approval of our minutes from December of last year.
Motion to approve the minutes from December of 2024.
I second.
Motion and a second to approve the minutes from the last meeting. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Minutes from the last meeting are approved. Next item on the agenda is the treasurer's report.
And it's exciting. So, at the end of 2024, our operating revenues, came to $383,291.43. And our expenses came to $390,333.70, which left us at a loss of $7,042.27. And after doing a bit of research, we found that there were 13 payments made to the affiliate fees instead of 12. Otherwise, we would have ended the year.
Yeah,
positive.
typically we pay, our invoices come in right at the end of the month. And in December of 23, it came in end of the month, it's paid in January. 24 came in a little bit sooner. Got it in time for the special meeting in 24, so we had 2 Decembers in there, so. Yeah. So we should we'll have 11 months is what we can figure
Yeah.
for the
For
20,
next year.
yeah, for this year.
We'll be way ahead next.
Oh,
So
yeah,
we noted, yeah.
yes.
So we just need a motion to approve the treasurer's report.
Motion to approve the treasurer's report.
Motion and a second to approve the treasurer's report. Discussion? All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Report is approved. Next, we have the general manager's report.
All right, Tom says this will be exciting. Start with the 2024 review. Our basic cable tier 1, local channels, basically. We had a net loss of 4 customers, started at 25, I ended with 21. Tier 2, expanded basic, we started with 228 customers, ended with 199 for a loss of 29 customers. And then on the digital cable side, started with 67, ended with 44 for a loss of 23. And that really is following the broader trend across the industry. Actually, this year, streaming viewership surpassed all of cable TV and broadcast. So for the very first time, back in May. So it's kind of what you're seeing across that trend across the industry. Everybody's going to make that move to streaming. So on the programming costs, another increase again this year from the programmers. If you need to raise those rates, basic package, tier 1 was up 10.7%, and then the tier 2 expanded basic was up 10.1%. So at those rates every year when we come to the council to approve the rate increase, that's what those are the reason why we're passing those directly onto those consumers, customers that we have. So we'll move on to the 25 updates. Most of you guys know, Caleb, last year our digital cable services, our provider for satellite dish, they came to us and said, hey, we're done. No longer going to have that service. We want to feed you terrestrially through some type of a circuit, internet type based circuit. The cost to do that was extremely high. And for the low number of customers we have, it would have just, their rates would have been just out of this world. So back then, yeah, you guys agreed, hey, let's just do away with this. So actually July 1 was the first day we did not offer digital cable services. We turned all of that off. So it's run with their tier 1, tier 2 as of right now. That actually went smoother than planned. Customers were very good about coming in, not waiting to the last minute, say, oh, hey, come and get a box inside their house. So and then we'll move on to the future of cable TV. So been talking with Larry, Pat and Mike. And last year also, we kind of got asked like, hey, where's this going? And so been looking at some options for us. You know, what could we do to continue some video services without really investing a large amount of money? Our plant's getting older, and to update all of that, it's gonna cost some serious dollars. So earlier this year at a conference, got to talking with a couple companies, and what they provide is streaming services for smaller companies like us. Had a meeting with these guys here in August and showed them the options, told them what my preference was, recommendation. They asked me to move forward and kind of have some more discussions with these guys, recommended company. And recently kind of slow going there, trying to get some communication back and forth. But last week I finally got to the right person and things started progressing. And one of the concerns that we have, Beresford's in a unique situation. We are on the line for that splits with the Sioux Falls area and the Sioux City Station area. And if anybody's tried to go get Blue Live or any of those, because our office here sits in Union County, which is in the Sioux City area, you're gonna probably receive those Sioux City stations. There's YouTube TV every once in a while, will give you that option where you can pick Sioux Falls, Sioux City. But most of the time, you're gonna get Sioux City. So that was one of the main talking points when we discussed this, was we have to have Sioux Falls. Everybody wants those channels. Thursday last week, I had a phone call with a couple technicians from this company and one of their partners, and feel we have a solution for that. We could actually use our antenna, feed it into a box, transport it over the internet, and then they can push this back out. And so they can just kind of preliminary talks, trying to kind of see what all they offer. I've been testing what their services are. It's very similar. Pull it up, you have a guide, everything's streaming over the internet. And one nice thing, it's a set fee for us. There's no upfront costs. Each customer that we would have would just be a certain dollar amount plus the programming fees. So channel guide is very similar, or the channel lineup is very similar to what we have. Basically all the channels that we have right now are on their package, plus a few other ones that were on our digital package, along with channels that we've never carried before. So really waiting to hear back what their cost would be for programming. There are consultants working on that for us right at this, right now. And so as soon as I hear back from her, I'll probably push out to the council committee here and we'll have another meeting and kind of discuss that. And then, at that point in time, we'll probably have to go back to the full council or full board and just, see what everybody's thoughts are if we want to proceed with this. And also, we'll have to have Tom review all the legal, the contract that they sent over, so. So, yeah, just wanted to give everybody a heads up, that I'm kind of having some talks, kind of trying to figure out where we can go with this, TV service, so.
But just, I just want to add something that I heard back late last week, and I had mentioned to Austin and some of the others that I reached out to Senator Round's office earlier this year, and it's taken them a little while, and we got a nice note back from someone you've heard in the news recently, Brendan Carr.
Yeah.
And the request was basically to discuss this, what they call DMA. And it's the
Designated market area.
And years ago, the FCC looked at a map and they saw that Union County touched North Sioux City. So they assumed that everybody in Union County would be associated with all of the news and information from Sioux City, which it's really not, it's not practical, but it looked good on a map from Washington, DC. So it actually asked them to consider for the zip codes or basically everything 10 miles into Union County, up to the Lincoln County line, could we have the choice of choosing? So even if you were not on Beresford Cable, you're on Hulu or something else, you would be given that option that you occasionally see with YouTube TV. Would you want Sioux Falls or Sioux City? And they said, thanks, but no thanks, finally. But the main concern is the discussion that we had about the new system that Austin and his group are looking at is it is in basically on your TV, it's similar to an app that you would have for Hulu or the others. So because of that, and because it's a national service with an app, would that cancel out our ability to say, no, we want to distribute Sioux Falls local stations? Would we fall under that same DMA? And I think the answer is no, we would not, because it is actually being marketed by Beresford Cable TV. And because of that, it would fall under the rights and rules that Beresford Cable has, and that has more to do with proximity to antennas. So we have to carry Sioux Falls. We have the option to carry Sioux City, but that's the way those rules work, and they shouldn't carry over to if a new system was app-based as opposed to terrestrial cable.
Yeah, yeah, the FCC consultant that was working on this for this little company, and basically clarified that. So, hey, Union County is a significantly viewed area for Sioux Falls. So she says there should be no problem carrying those channels. So
yeah,
this,
I mean, and that's for the cable rule. Yeah, and they agree this. The oddity of this is Clay County is considered to be associated with Sioux Falls. So if you live in Vermillion, they associate you to Sioux Falls. If you live in Beresford, south of Highway 46, they assume that you are associated with Sioux City, and you go,
yeah,
our government at work. Yeah. So, but anyway, but that finally, and that resolution, I got that late last week from Senator Round's office. So no change there, but it should not have any impact on the project that Austin is looking at. The question that will come up is to use that new system, you will need to have internet access.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
So when the prices are confirmed, and if this looks like us, you know, to maintain that cable franchise and the service because of the space that we're in between these two worlds and the distances from all the antennas is, might we consider a package that would include an internet connection with the cable if you're not currently an internet user? That may, because you're looking at two costs as opposed to just one for cable. You don't need internet service right now to be connected to Beresford Cable. That may be something that we may need to take a very close look at to see if we can make it cost effective. And then because it's managed through Beresford Cable, it'll give us more flexibility than working with a a national hat.
Correct, yeah, yeah, essentially we'd be the billing portion of it. We do the billing, we do the signing up, and then the local tech support on that. So customers call us, hey, I have a problem with my app, we'd help them with that. So, but essentially, most of the equipment would go away in our office, equipment would go away out of the plant. And it would be Amazon Fire Sticks, Roku's, certain models, so. Yep. If anybody's interested in viewing it, you can come and see me. I've got it on this TV in here. I can show you, give you a quick demo of it, anytime, so.
The last thing I want to say is something that's come up I think this is the third annual meeting I've been to for Beresford Cable as part of the council. I've been associated with broadcasting for over 50 years. And I would like to think that my head is not thinking of 50 years ago. Okay, that I've noticed that things changed. And this is one certainly that has changed, cable becoming the thing and now fading away because of technology changes. I would encourage everyone as we go forward and talk about this to remember that this is a service for the Beresford community. And it fills in some places because of our unique location, but it's also a unique opportunity. And a lot of my career with public was finding new and innovative ways to use that to serve that area. And I can't help but think there may be possibilities in the future. I think this is an important tool to have. It does provide a very practical service, one that we're going to look at closely as it evolves, but not simply adopt the idea that cable is dying. It's more of what could we do to make sure that the quality of life is maintained from this point of view. And we've got an excellent team and leader to do that. And I hope we maintain that point of view going forward with those tools that are available.
That is all I have. We'll see you guys have some questions.
Question?
We would need to approve the general manager's report.
Okay. Any questions for Austin before we do that? Anything else?
Make a motion that we approve the general manager's report.
Motion and a second to approve the report. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Well done. Motion for adjournment. Any other business first? Motion for adjournment.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye. Reconvene the city council meeting at 2027 or 8:27. We'll move from item 11 to number 12 on the agenda, October 20th meeting to start at 5:30 p.m. because of our friends at the International Brotherhood of Electric Workers 426.
So I reached out to both IBEW and the Teamsters. The Teamsters is unable to meet on that date, so we're working for another possible.
What's our last date that we can meet with the Teamsters? Whenever.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out a date.
Okay.
And I have to do a special council meeting.
I can come to the EW one.
What's that?
I can come to this one, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
At some point, the Teamsters want to meet with us, I'm sure.
Yeah.
It's to their benefit.
Yeah. All right, so we'll need an official motion to set that date. Set the date.
I think it's just information is,
What's that?
we don't need a motion for this one, do we?
This
Just
meeting,
information.
so it'll be posted for 5:30, but first item of business will be go into executive session. The personnel, but there are contract negotiations, so.
Right. All right, next item number 12, open house retirement party for City Administrator Jerry Zimet at the Bridges Event Center. Friday, October 10th, 3 to 6 p.m.
please join us. It's gonna be a great time.
What are our shirts again?
Yes, you're encouraged. Cause Jerry's gonna love it.
Appreciate it all, I think.
Yeah. That's some sarcasm with that, but it.
You want one too?
He has one.
I have noise that's worth tonight.
Well, we're not Fridays. They already work Friday.
The caricature is smiling, so I mean, it's a good thing, right? We're gonna remember you positively because of the shirt.
Don't make me make a motion.
Mr. Mayor,
I've got some vacations on.
I can report I helped out, day one at the, boys state golf tournament in Vermillion, and our two participants from Vermillion, we both shot 89.
No.
Improved their position overall, and
Yeah,
so follow them tomorrow and see how they do.
yes, awesome. Good news. All right, we'll move on to item number 13, which belongs squarely to Mr. Counselor Pat Pickett. 14. All
I
right.
make a motion that we pay the bill.
Oh, sorry. Motion and seconds to authorize payment of the bills. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? All right, bills have been paid. There are no travel requests. Correct?
Correct.
Okay, no travel request. All right, executive session for contract or personnel.
Legal.
Legal.
Yeah.
All right, I'll entertain a motion to enter into an executive session for legal purposes.
Move.
Motion and second on the table to enter into executive session for legal. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Anybody opposed? All right, 2031.
Very, very.